At the dawn of the Industrial Revolution, the American Railroad became the vehicle at which life's pace was set. Growing in the east and expanding toward the western frontier, the railroad was responsible for America's rapid growth and expansion. Engineering such a network was no small task, and the men who built these companies understood the value of their accomplishments and wanted to share them with the world. To promote their new transportation systems, railroads turned to another product of the industrial age, photography. With the rise of the medium and technological advancements that afforded mass reproduction of mammoth plate photographs, photographers were the new de facto illustrators of the 19th century. Marketing departments sought out preeminent lensmen of the time, equipping them with specially outfitted passenger cars to provide a mobile studio on rails. Their intent was to create stunning views of man's great triumph over the American landscape, to display the progress and order that accompanied the railroad's march westward. Stations, cities, and the engineered rail corridor itself were the focus of commissions to illustrate this technological marvel, to lure travelers from all over the world to experience by rail what the nation had accomplished in such a short time. By no coincidence was the Pennsylvania Railroad one of the foremost supporters of this new methodology. Its corporate headquarters in Philadelphia placed it at the epicenter of photography in the United States during the 19th century. The Pennsylvania Railroad, like many others, employed photographers for a range of purposes, from everyday documentation of engineering projects to commissions undertaken to illustrate the railroad for the Centennial and Columbian Expositions. The Pennsylvania Railroad drew on local talents to highlight the road. From 1890 through the 1930s, the Penn tasked employee and Philadelphia native William N. Jennings to document engineering projects throughout the railroad's most transformative era. Jennings' work, termed progressive photography, illustrated the grit and scale of improvements so monumental that they would outlive the PRR and its successors. Two prominent Philadelphia photographers carried out marketing commissions: Frederick Gudekunst in 1875 for the Centennial Exposition, and William H. Rao, who over several assignments from 1891 to 1893 created a collection of work to be displayed at the Columbian Exposition. Gudekunst and Rao's work was by design far more polished, serving not merely as a record, but rather as sophisticated views of the railroad in situ. Their results displayed a harmonious landscape between man and nature, advancing the railroad's narrative of bringing order to an otherwise rugged and remote land. The resulting images were shown at expositions and hotels and reproduced in company literature, celebrating the modern railroad in the context of the places it traveled. With the passage of nearly 150 years since the photographers began to chronicle the Pennsylvania Railroad, the context of this imagery has, of course, evolved from a contemporary point of view. The Pennsylvania Railroad, as it was, is gone. Its sprawling network, carved by various successors into separate, if not interdependent, corridors for both freight and passenger operations across the mid-Atlantic. The surviving imagery of Rao, Gudekunst, and the many others commissioned by the railroads leaves us a rich visual legacy, prodigious volumes of information about the railroad, the landscape, and the energy of the industrial age. My dialogue with these historical works inspires and informs the Mainline project. It responds to both the photograph's formal nature and, more importantly, to their reference in time. The Mainline project doesn't specifically seek out to recreate existing works, but rather to utilize these visual assets as a means to understand what was and what survives. The photographs trace the rise and fall of the Pennsylvania Railroad in the context of the contemporary landscape. Photographs provide distinct views by contextualizing the railroad within the landscape, while also simulating the passenger's experience as if from a railcar window. The story of how the PRR shaped and developed the United States is told by illustrating its transitioning landscape, uncovering its hidden layers of growth by following the decline and rebirth of small towns, industrial areas, and city terminals whose fortunes once depended solely on this singular, once mighty transportation system.